Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Awesome Artsy Moms. My name is Ann Walsh, and today I'm in Oxford Station, just south of Kemptville, with Eva Parker. Eva is the owner of Two Emu Creations, and that's where she gets to combine her love of sewing with her passion for upcycling. So, Eva, who taught you to sew?
My mother was probably the first one who taught me how to sew. And then there were a few, occasions where I've picked up other sewing skills. So at school, we had a lady who came in and showed us how to make a bonnet to do with Upper Canada Village at the time, from memory. Cool. And then I guess other important people in my life in terms of sewing would be my mother-in-law, Carol, who she was an avid sewer. Like she started my obsession with fabrics. Nice. To the extent that it is now. So yeah, and I sew on her sewing machine. When she passed away, she actually gave it to me because she felt that I would get the most use out of it. So and I have. Yes. 15 years old and still going.
Definitely. Do you remember the first project that you completed on your own?
The first thing I sewed, besides the bonnet, I guess, which I probably had a bit of help with, was a patchwork pillowcase.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Which I don't know where it is. When you move country a few times, it's in a box somewhere, but I'm not too sure. I did look for it.
And how old would you have been at that time?
At that time, I was probably about 14. Probably about 14 when I did that. I did other little things, but that's the biggest thing I remember.
You previously worked in IT, and you worked as a sign language interpreter. You were telling us earlier about some of the differences as you're traveling in what the signs mean. Can you tell us about that, please?
So basically, sign languages vary from country to country, just like accents. Yes. So you'll get accents across the country as well. Even within Canada, you'll have an accent out in the prairies versus way out in BC and that. So there are variations within the language. Okay. Accordingly, it's basically accents. There are some signs that are appropriate to sign in some countries that aren't in others. Some hand shapes that are used more frequently, say in Australia versus Canada in this instance. But because of the different cultures, you have these signs that vary as well. So for me, it was a bit of a learning curve. There were a few interesting conversations with people where I would sign something and it would be misconstrued or miscommunicated. Like a water, like water here in Australia, and if you use that here, it can be translated as sex. So asking for a cup of sex, and then
get you in trouble.
It can get you in trouble. You get the looks of, hang on, I don't think you meant to ask that. And then there's other say the questioning when you ask questions, like who ASL's who, what, where, and why.
Yes.
Auslan is who, what, where, why. So why is similar, but the where and the what, I often get those two confused and have to think about who I'm chatting with and what they might be. Because everything, you still have the questions, the eyebrows that go up and down. So you know it's a question, but it's like, which one is it?
You travel through Asia with your husband for 6 months. How did that trip inspire you?
We would go to markets everywhere that we went, and we also, whenever we could find I would hunt out fabric shops and that as well. But one of the finds there was this bag from from China, which I loved because of the owl and the way that you can actually envision the feathers in the way that they've actually layered the fabrics.
It's beautiful.
And then there were others. They had a lot of was it Nepal, Cambodia, China, definitely, Laos a little bit. Laos had the most amazing markets. Oh my god, they were awesome. But they had a lot of these colorful mobiles as well, which were fantastic to see. Cool. Yeah. So
you moved from your career in IT to doing something with more creativity, and that was due to some health concerns. Can you tell us about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, please?
So Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is a connective tissue disorder, and I have Ehlers-Danlos hypermobility type. It affects people in different ways. Just like any disease, no two people are exactly alike with their symptoms. For me, mostly it means, in short, the biggest issues that I have are fairly frequent subluxations. So I get dislocations too, but more often subluxations. So subluxation is basically, if you imagine that's your socket joint, it's where your joints pop in and out, but they go back in. But when they go back in, you can often pinch nerves or any other tendons or whatever within there. So then you get secondary conditions as well, like arthritis and that, which I have. So basically it just causes, I guess, widespread pain on a daily basis. And some days are good. Today's actually pretty good. And some days I can really walk. But it just depends. Yeah, so when I actually got sick in 2004 and ended up in hospital, and we weren't 100% sure what it was at that stage. It actually took me from 2004, I had my formal diagnosis here at CHIO last year. So, and I waited 5 years to get into genetics, to see someone to just have it confirmed that that's what I have. There's not much that can be done about it. You just have to try to protect your joints as much as possible. I do like aquafit and I go to physio and that, but being, I guess, having other health issues makes you reconsider what you're doing in life. So I did IT, and that was something my father's very good at it. Basically that whole side of the family is very good with computers. Yes, I can do it, but do I enjoy it? No. No. So
not your passion.
It's not my passion. So that's when I got into sign language interpreting. Loved sign language interpreting. And then we did some travel, which I love as well. And then when we came over here and had kids, unfortunately when you have kids sometimes and you have Ehlers-Danlos, it causes a further decline. So I had to think of something else to do. And I've always loved to create, so this is what I do.
After your trip, you started a family. How did becoming a mom impact your creativity?
That impacted my creativity because I did more things that centered around my kids. So I had different problems to solve, or things I had to find a solution for. So, like with the crowns, this is one classic one. I needed to find a way for my kids to have a crown, but without buying the plastic crowns that you get at the shop that don't even last often a wear. So this came about. My daughter, my youngest one, was actually running around with the headband like this. And I went, that's it. That's the solution. So that's how these guys came about. And then I've made them tails, capes, all sorts of things. So yeah, there's a lot of, but I think I've also changed as they've gotten older. There are some things that I'm trying to phase out a bit more as well.
Like what?
I was doing, and I do still have some, I have some tool belts for kids. But my kids are past that now. So the crowns are still, my oldest, Levi, loves to help me with these. So he'll actually pick out different materials for me and go, yeah, you need to do like a bird whatever. So these ones are bird related. I've got a couple of bird ones here, which actually pretty much go. They're almost the opposite. But yeah, so he's helped me with these, but I don't see them as being something that I'll continue with for years down the track.
It was a phase.
Yeah, it's a phase, and you have to change it up.
So you were more creative after your children came along.
Yeah, they probably inspired me more. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
When you were starting out, you went to a lot of small markets, and you were saying that that was not a positive experience for you. Can you tell us a bit about that?
I find that small markets are good because you have a smaller outlay initially, so that's actually quite good. But when you have restrictions with your health and you only have an hour or so to set up, it's really difficult and quite stressful for me to try to get in to set up. I also, Ehlers-Danlos is, I guess, more of an invisible disease, or an illness. So, you know, me going up and asking for help, it will be different to perhaps an older person or somebody who outwardly looks like they need more help. Trying to explain that, okay, if I lift this, it may shift my shoulder out, can be difficult to convey.
It would be,
yes. Yeah.
You are now a member of the Branch Artisans Guild. How did you decide to join them, and what impact did they have on your business?
I decided to join the Branch Artisans after I went to a market. They have their Christmas market in November, the first weekend in November every year, which I'm going to again this year.
Hooray!
Shameless plug. But I decided to join them after going to my first show. They've actually helped because they've sort of pushed me out of my comfort zone, in that I'm secretary of the group, so I do the notes for it, but everyone is encouraged to try to get other people to come to workshops as well, or to present a workshop for us. So I've actually had to approach people from time to time.
Oh no.
I know. Which
Heavens no.
I don't really like to do. So it's kind of helped me to get more contacts, I guess, within the artist community. And
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that your products are so colorful with these bold patterns. Can you give us an overview of your products?
I do a lot of different things. I can't quite stick to one thing, apparently. So a few of the things that I make are these little flowers, which are actually hair clip holders. There you go. They came about from my daughter's first birthday. I needed to make something for everyone to take, so that was where they came from. And then I was like, oh, actually, they're actually quite a good idea. So yeah. Then I do a lot of kitchen supplies. So aprons are a big one. This is actually a kid's reversible apron.
Dr. Seuss.
Which Dr. Seuss, yeah. I do a lot of licensed print items. So anything from Star Wars, Doctor Who,
Nice.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or superheroes of some description. If you want it, then I'll see if I can find it for you. And yeah, I've got a lot of fabric. So there's that one. The other thing I do is oven mitts, both for adults and kids. So this is part of a set. This one is the Hungry Caterpillar, and they're all fully lined, both with a reflective liner, so you can actually use it to pick up hot things, and then just with a nice fabric inside, which are quite cool.
Nice.
Tails. I'm not sure how long I'll do tails for though. This is actually my daughter's tail. And she loves dragons and dinosaurs, and that's how that came about. Was how can you become a dragon or a dinosaur? So There's
You just
tails.
clip it on.
And you just clip it on, yeah. And the clips are actually, would you believe it or not, the clips there are lead free, but most of them are not. So I had to search for those lead free clips. Everything I do, I think about. If I wouldn't want it for my kids, then why would I give it to somebody else's kid?
Exactly.
So these kind of fit in with my Scrappie monsters in general, but the Scrappie monsters came first, and then I did little tooth fairy pillows, and they're all unique little guys.
So they stick their little tooth.
They stick their little tooth in there, and it's big enough that you can actually put like a little note or whatever from your tooth fairy, and it's because each tooth fairy is different, so you got to make sure that you allow for those differences. The other thing I do is bows, both as hair clips and as bow ties. And they're basically all the fabrics that you'll see for the aprons and the oven mitts. I will redo them into smaller items as well. So the aprons take up quite a lot of material, but you do get scraps. But the scraps are a reasonable amount. So one of the things I do with my scraps is I make bow ties or hair clips or whatever out of them. So that's another. Oh, there's another one. Colorful. So yeah. Then there's the camera strap covers as well. So this one's a Wonder Woman themed one.
Love Wonder Woman.
That's what you need, Andrew. And it's got a nice a soft fabric on the back, so when you actually wear it, it's nice. And again, that also uses up some of the thin strips that I might have left over as well. So yeah. Well, there's the Scrappie monsters. There's the crowns from before as well. And then, well, this is my own. This is just my own. I do make these for people, for other vendors. This one's reversible. So it's got Doctor Who with the exploding TARDIS. And then you've got Guardians of the Galaxy, which I have to admit is a bit of a favorite. And it's kind of special to me because I had Sean Gunn sign it. And also Michael Koch.
Yay.
And Sean Gunn also wrote, he actually wrote on I'm Not a Baboon, which was a quote from the second movie. So this one stays tucked away so that my youngest doesn't accidentally draw on it.
Accidentally.
Yes, accidentally add her own artistic touches to it.
Her own signature.
Then I also do, these are obviously more popular at Christmas, but my lined stockings. So I'm a bit tactile. So I make sure that the insides are nice and soft. So there's often a fleece, or it'll usually be the scraps of fabric again, because I make mermaid tails too, so I have to find ways to use scraps of fabric. Yeah, but yeah.
I know some people who'd love this.
Then the other thing I do is the hanging towels. Again, lots of different prints. And makes use of any scraps of fabric that I might have left over from the aprons. Yeah, and these ones have most of them I've changed. I used to do the Velcro, but then I changed over to snaps because snaps are just a bit easier for, they actually hold on a bit better than the Velcro with the kids. I've noticed. Velcro is really good for, I started off with the Velcro because the Velcro was really good when your hands, when you have issues with your hands like I do with arthritis and that. So, but yeah, so there's those. And they always come with free thread that just hangs off.
Absolutely free.
Yeah. So there's another one. This one, so this one's actually pretty special. This one is the first activity mat that I made. I'm probably gonna get a little bit emotional. Sorry. My last year, I found out that a cousin in in England had CJS. I forget how to say it, but it's basically it's a form of dementia, and when it takes hold quickly. So he passed away, I think it was last year, but he passed away rather suddenly. When I found out that he was sick, I wanted to make an activity mat for him, because when you have dementia or Alzheimer's, a lot of people like to fidget, so they need something to keep themselves busy. Unfortunately, I didn't get to make it for him, but I managed to make this for a friend whose son is autistic. And I've got some information from her as to what he liked. So he liked pink, and his first name starts with a W. So he has the W, and I did it purposely with the loops, because you can fidget with it. Then you have all the tags and all the different colors as well to fidget with. The alphabet, he likes cats, so like Pikmin. And then all the different textures as well. And there's actually a marble maze. So there's a plastic, if you look at that. You can actually feel it. Through the maze. It's a plastic marble.
That is
and
cool.
You push it through. And each one of these, every one that I've made a few of these since. They're all made to specifications for each
It's
child.
way better than a fidget spinner.
Yeah. Yeah. So apparently he loves it.
Yeah, well this maze, this maze itself is pretty cool.
Yeah, it was fun to make. I enjoy, that's probably the biggest thing I enjoy, is making things that are unique, which is why I enjoy the Scrappie monsters so much. Yes, and the other thing I do is the upcycling items with the dryer balls.
The dryer balls.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is honestly, I guess parts of this are also upcycled. So the bits of ribbon are usually like little bits that I have left. I have a little, I have a little container where I put bits of ribbon in that I can use for this. Nothing is wasted, basically. I'll make sure that everything's... those. So this is something... Yep, that one is... This is a weighted bag. And these are used for people that have sort of sensory issues as well. When I was originally looking into making these, because I made some for the school, I was going to do it in big bold fabrics, but then in talking with one of the teachers there, she had said, no, don't do that, because they have too much stimulus as it is. So you need something that's calming. And denim is also hard wearing.
Yes.
So often the kids will wear them, and adults can wear them too, across the shoulder, or they use it on their lap, and it just helps to provide that little bit of weight and calming. Yeah.
Very interesting.
But I enjoy this sort of... I enjoy the custom work, and the work that I know is actually going to help someone.
Yes.
That I'm making a difference.
It has a purpose.
It does. Yeah. Because, I mean, no one's going to live forever. But if I can leave something behind, then that would be really cool. So, yeah.
I was really intrigued when I saw your Scrappie monsters. How did they come about?
Scrappie monsters came about actually because a neighbor and friend asked for me to make something for another friend's little girl, and I needed to come up with something that was different. I like the idea of using up scraps. I was looking for a way to use up all my scraps, other than other ways that I had tried out, and I wanted to celebrate the differences that everybody has. So the fact that I have Ehlers-Danlos, so I have some abilities that other people don't, and then I also have some things that I can't do. So I wanted to make something that would celebrate those differences, and that's basically how these came about. So they're all supposed to be uniquely imperfect. Some have longer legs than others, some don't have any legs. I don't actually try to make sure that, the arms are the same. Sometimes they are, This one's actually pretty good. Oh, see, the one leg's bigger than the other on that one. I don't try to make sure that they're 100% perfect, because I don't think they should be, and that adds to their charm.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's an excellent idea. I love it.
They're fun. They're just fun, and the fact that they're all unique makes them such a joy to make. I don't have a pattern. Like there literally is not a pattern for these guys. I go with my scraps and I go, okay, like this one here, I had a really long thin piece of fabric. I'm like, oh, okay, what can I do with that? It's like, it's a little bit too thick for a big leg.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could do a leg, but then I would have to cut it, so then I'd waste that bit of scrap. But I could use it to make a long thin scrappy. And then the taggies, are just fun. The taggies are so much easier than the legs, to be honest. Because I flip them inside out.
Right.
These are a lot easier to work with, especially with my hands. But yeah, they're all different. There isn't any rules. Even the smiles, the smiles all change. They're all done by hand, on the machine.
Mm-hmm.
But how they come out is how they come out.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I got 2 for my daughters. I can't wait to show them.
I'm very excited too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to love it.
Yeah, they're good fun.
Tell us about the hearts and zebra patterns on your monsters.
So the zebra relates to... zebra is often used as an animal to symbolize those who have rare diseases, and Ehlers-Danlos is considered a rare disease. So the zebra print that does pop up with these from time to time is a reflection of myself and my kids, as I've probably passed the genes on to them. The heart actually pertains to my youngest, who was born with 2 holes in her heart. So she had an ASD and a VSD hole. So it's like, this one is a lot of my family in it. And just a celebration of it. It's like, it is what it is.
And you said one of her holes actually patched up.
Yeah. So the VSD, it was a reasonable size, and they had been preparing us for surgery when she was born. She was born in October 2013, and just before Christmas that year, we were told that it looked good. So
what a great gift!
Awesome. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Yeah. Who knew?
Awesome.
Yeah.
How did you get into upcycling and using reclaimed materials?
Oh, I'm just a bit of a hippie. I've always had an interest in reducing waste. Such a hippie. I've passed it on to my kids as well.
Good.
So Levi in particular, he relates everything to the polar bears. Well, that hurt the polar bears. It's like, well, yeah. If getting certain toys, unfortunately, aren't made to last necessarily all the time. We have to make choices as to what we want to do. But I've always, I made musical instruments out of, what was it? I think it was an old, washing powder or not old liquid detergent or something. I remember making an old, a tambourine out of that. And
Cool.
I've always had an interest in reusing. I did a lot of furniture restoration as well. So I sanded this back years ago, the table that I sew on. I can't necessarily do that because of my shoulder issues and all that now, because lugging furniture isn't so good for you.
Yes.
But I've always had an interest in reducing my waste. And before I started to do this, when I was even doing it just for friends, friends would pay me to make something, I was very conscientious of looking into how I would actually reuse everything. So nothing is wasted, and I'm not part of the problem.
That's
So
great.
my smallest scraps, like I've made bulletin boards, which use all the thin strips of fabric, and I make trees and that out of them. And then, but then what I can't use, I've got a pillow on the floor behind you, and it's actually filled full of scraps. It's a really dense pillow, which
That's
my
really
daughter
creative.
loves to come in and sit on.
Very creative.
So yeah, just nothing's wasted. You can't be part of the problem.
And you're not,
So, no,
obviously.
I'm trying not to be.
You make every effort not to be.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Where did you get the name Two Emu Creations?
Well, it was either Two Emu Creations or Chuka. Chuka's Creations. Two Emu Creations actually, or Two Emu was my alias for a long time. It actually relates to my initials from my maiden name. So my initials before were EMW. So Two EMU.
Oh.
So that it's pretty simple. It's just a bit of a play, but yeah.
So what Chuku?
Chuka. Oh, Chuka. I get called chicken, or Chuka is or Chuk is the Australian way to say chicken.
Okay.
So Chuka is my nickname as well. And I thought, Chuka, oh yeah, it's so much easier just to go Two Emu. Because everyone thinks of two emus because I'm half Australian. And it's like, no, it's not, but you go with that.
Whatever.
I don't care. Yeah, whatever you want it to be, it's all good.
You have a competition going on right now. Can you tell us about it?
Yes, I do. I'm basically looking for people to send in pictures of themselves with items that they purchased from me. So it could be like a Scrappie monster, or aprons, or even a hanging towel. If you could show me a really interesting way to, advertise a hanging towel. And basically go into a draw to win a $20 credit towards your next purchase. Yeah.
That's great.
So, yeah.
And what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Best way, I use a lot of social media, so I use Instagram and Facebook. Two Emu Creations again for both of those. And then I also have a website, twoemucreations.com, all one word, obviously, and an email as well. So you can contact me via email, eva@twoemucreations.com, which I'm sure you will have up.
I will.
But, yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, no worries.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's awesome.